Hey everyone, welcome back to Next Generation. So our plant obsession has now moved indoors.
Your plant obsession? Like the last 5 videos that we've uploaded, I've been telling y'all that Jen is obsessed with plants. I'm like, babe, look at my new plant.
You like it.
I do like it. But now we've run out of room outside, so now guess what? Plants are coming inside.
We want to have them all displayed like in layers around our TV. So here's the wall where our TV is currently, and it's just a blank wall. So we've started to put plants all around it, but they all just sit on the floor.
That's where they all are right now, just cluttered in the one little space of light that we have. Not only does it fit, but everything will match and just kind of flow in the living room.
Plants actually have a lot of benefits, which is also a really cool thing. So not only do they look really nice,
Purify the air though.
Yeah, some of them are even good for sleep. Also, if you're worried about sunlight and you don't have a lot of light in your home, but you want indoor plants, you can always use artificial lights, which I think is what we're gonna eventually get for the living room. Of course, we'll have everything linked down below in the description if you're interested in purchasing anything. As usual, we're first gonna start with everything that you need to make it. We're gonna make 2 different types of designs. One is gonna be a plant stand, and then the other is also a stand, but it's gonna have dual purpose because you'll be able to open it up and it's gonna be like a little cabinet.
Storage stand all in one.
Here's where we could store our watering bucket and then other little accessories that I'm gonna show you guys that we have that are definite must-haves if you're starting an indoor plant collection.
Definitely made our life easier, huh?
Yeah, and I'm excited to have a place to store it all.
All right, so we will be using some scrap wood once again because we have a lot and we're trying to kind of get rid of some of that and use it when we can. I've got this 1 3/4 piece of plywood.
This is about the size that you'll need, so you don't need a whole sheet of plywood.
All right, so we've got 1/2 inch plywood as well. This will depend on how big you want your box. We're not looking to do a giant box here. We want really kind of like a low profile box.
We want ours about 1.5 feet, but of course, whatever size that you want to make.
If you don't have a preference on what size you want, think about the stuff that you're gonna be storing in there and then just build it around that. And the last structural item is this beautiful 4x4 that we used for our knife block.
If you're planning to build both of these designs, I'd probably recommend just getting 1/2 piece of plywood.
A 4x4, yeah.
Yeah, and that would probably be big enough to build
both of these. Unless
you want larger versions, then maybe get 1 full-size piece of plywood, but you don't need too much wood to build both of these.
So if you're just building the box, you only need 1/2 inch plywood. If you're doing the stand, you're gonna need a thicker piece of plywood.
To put it all together, you will need some wood screws.
We have 1-inch screws.
For your plant cabinet, you will need some hinges. So this is a 2-pack. It was like $3, super inexpensive, and I like them because they're black.
We really like these hinges. We've used them a bunch.
Yeah, we don't know how to, and it never comes out right, but we still use them. Lastly, you will need some paint or stain or seal in order to finish it. We're just gonna use some white paint so that it matches the other structures that we have, because we have our blanket chest in there that's already white, so we kind of want everything to match really nicely in there.
It's gonna look so good with the white. I like that.
I think so.
It's gonna look nice and bright.
And then stay tuned till the end. It will show you what plants that we have and the little accessories that I like to use for my indoor plants that are a must-have.
It makes it super easy to keep up with your plants indoors so that they stay healthy.
So the first thing that we're building is the stand, because this is the simpler version. Then we'll leave off on the cabinet. For our stand, of course, the first thing you want to do is figure out how tall you want it.
Ooh, how tall do we want ours? 3 feet? All right, so we measured our table and we're gonna make our stand 2 feet tall.
Keep in mind that if you do want it exactly 2 feet, then you should deduct the thickness of the wood that you'll be using as the top and the bottom, so that it does actually sit at 2 feet. We're not extremely picky about it being exact.
We're not really worried about the extra 1.5 inches.
Yep.
It doesn't need to fit under a shelf or anything like that, so it's no big deal. But to get started, you want to cut a nice size base. So this one, 16 by 13, I was close. This is probably about 14 inches by 16. I was close, y'all. 16 by 13, I was off by 1 inch.
Wow.
Damn. So that's what we're gonna use for the base. I'm not cutting this. This is perfect. All of our weight's gonna be centered. I'm not really worried about this thing tipping over.
But if you're worried about it, then you can always just use smaller posts and just have one on each corner.
Yeah. So those are your 2 options for that.
Once you have your base, bottom ready to go, which you can also add some little feet or felt bottoms.
Oh, that would be nice.
If you're putting it like on a hardwood floor or something. Next up, we're gonna prep our
4x4. This is just stand. Like we said, we're gonna cut this 2 feet tall. So simple, 1 cut. All right, so if you have some extra material, when you're choosing what piece of wood to make your cut at, look for any imperfections. So here I found this hole. I'm gonna cut that off and then I'm gonna make my 24-inch measurement. All right, so after you cut your stand, you wanna go ahead and cut the top part of your stand. You're ready to cut your top. You can cut it in a circle if you have a circle cutter or a router.
A circle cutter?
Yeah, so there's a...
I don't think it's called that.
It's not called that. It cuts circles though. I'm gonna try to use the router to make a circle. If it works, I'm gonna be so excited, but if it doesn't...
We'll have a square.
Yeah, we'll have a boring square top.
We want it around 12 inches.
That looks good. It looks way better than I can do. Wow, that looks beautiful.
So now that we have all of our wood laid out and cut for the stand, you can go ahead and assemble that. You just need wood screws for that. I'll get to how to do that.
That.
No, golly.
So now that all of our wood is cut out, we're gonna go ahead and assemble our stand. All we're gonna do is wood screw it together.
I recommend screwing the bottom to the post and then placing it
upside down.
Yeah.
And screwing like that.
Yeah, it's like a wheel. So you can do the bottom first, the top first. I recommend doing the bottom first. Mount the bottom to the post, set the bottom down, and then mount the top board.
And how many screws should we use for this? I feel like more than
4.
one, yeah.
On each corner of the 4x4 as wide out as I can go. We are using 3/4 inch wood. We do have these 1-inch screws, so we'll probably bump it up to 1.25 inch. That's it. Now we got a plant stand. Sand your edges.
Oh yeah, you do want to sand
before
it.
you paint. Jen gets really excited. So you'll see this box here and this dot in the circle. So I measured across to find the center point, and then I took and I measured the width of my stand from center to edge on each side, right? What I'm gonna do now that I have this box laid out, I'm gonna flip it over and line it up. Instead of guesstimating where this square is, I'm gonna pre-drill 4 holes here, and then when I flip it over, I'll know exactly where to go. Look at that, guys. So secure.
So now that our plant stand is assembled, now we can move on to painting, finishing.
Ooh. Do we have a paintbrush? We ruined our paintbrush on the last DIY, painting the fence.
Yeah. We might have a paintbrush. If we don't have one, we'll be finger painting today. So. now that our stand is complete, we're gonna move on to our other stand.
Our box.
Cabinet stand
Our storage planter box holder. You need 6 pieces of wood the same size.
No.
Yeah, that makes a box.
The top and the bottom need to be bigger to make up for the edges.
Oh, I make this mistake all the time.
I know. You'll need 4 pieces that are the same size. I'm thinking maybe 10 by 10.
I'm thinking of whatever size we have scrap wood that will allow us.
Yeah. And then as far as the top and the bottom of your structure, this needs to account for the thickness of your wood. So if you're using 1/2 inch thickness, you will need 1 inch extra on your top and bottom boards. So if you're doing 10 by 10 as your 4 outside pieces, then you'll need 11 by 11 on the top and the bottom.
Yeah, well said.
Simple as could be, right?
Thanks for catching my mistake before we got out there and ruined our scrap wood and then had no wood to go back and use. All right, so now that our wood is all cut out for our box, we're gonna build a box. Because we're using 1/2 inch, we're gonna use the 1 inch screws here. These are number 6s because with our 1/2 inch wood, I like a thinner screw so it doesn't split my wood. Do that.
Do that.
Make it do that. That's what our nieces say. We've got our screws. We're gonna assemble 3 of the 4 pieces of wood because remember, one of those is gonna be a door.
So leave one open.
So leave that off. Then put the top and bottom on. And then I'll figure out some way to make these hinges work once again.
Ay, ay, ay.
Now I did all that and then I'm gonna do this, so now I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
We have our box pretty much assembled. There's 1 piece left, the door. So did you get a handle?
Yeah, we forgot to mention that at the beginning, but you will need a handle if you are trying to open your cabinet.
Or if you have a hole saw kit, you can actually just drill a hole finger size. I've seen this before. And you can just stick your finger through and you can use that as like a pull.
No. Now on to trying to assemble the, not handle, hinges.
The hinges. All right, we have got a structure. Hello.
Now for our favorite part, the hinges.
I had an epiphany.
Did you?
So it goes like this. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that?
Oh, does it?
That first off, when you cut the wood for a door, make sure it doesn't fit so dang tight. I forgot this is supposed to be a door. Look how tight this is. It's not even screwed in.
That's the door? Ew.
That's the back. Oh.
The door?
Name it. Oh, we just flip it like this. Hello.
Ooh, pretty.
We need to cut that. Imperfection, we'll cut that off. All right, that's perfect. Yeah, goes like that. And then you just screw that onto the door. That's how we're doing it. You know what? These are too long. I always have this problem. Always. That's too long. Cool. All right, so this is how it's gonna go. This is my door. This is gonna go in between this piece of wood here and the wall, like that, because I'm having issues with the length of my screws. So we're gonna make this work here. I'm gonna screw the hinge to this wood, and then I'm gonna screw the wood to the box. I'm becoming a hinge pro. Door. Okay, it worked somewhat. I figured out hinges. Pop open, pop closed. I did it, I did it. All right, so we've fully assembled our box storage planter cabinet. We're gonna go ahead and sand it up and make it look nice and smooth before we paint it. Are you gonna paint it with your hand?
Or you can stain, seal, waterproof it, whatever you want to do to yours, do that.
Wood stain would look really nice too.
Mm-hmm. Since we'll be using this as a plant stand in case any water gets on it, I am going to seal it. This is my favorite seal when it comes to protecting your wood from water damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a coat of this now that my paint is completely dry.
All right, let's see if our plant stand's still standing. Plant stand held up well, and it's not leaning. So we have no leaning tower of plants, and we're good to go.
So now on to our few little tips that we have for our indoor plants that have really worked for us. So I wanted to share it with you guys. First up, I got this really cute little vase container glass thing from the Dollar Tree.
Too. I like that.
And this is so random because it doesn't have much to do with plants.
But you got that from the Dollar Tree?
Yes, this is from the Dollar Tree. It came in different colors. Of course, I had to get black, but I really like this because I keep my supplies in here, which I'm about to show you. So the first thing that is a must-have for your plants, like this was a game changer when I got an official one of these instead of using what I have at home. That's pruners. So obviously this is used to cut off like any of your dead leaves or
branches.
Yeah, I've used scissors this whole time and broke all of them. So this is gonna be your easiest way to cut your plants. Highly recommend.
And it has a safety feature so it locks in place closed.
Boom.
I like that.
Another super game changer,
yes.
Highly recommend for everyone, and that is a moisture meter. This thing is so amazing. Like, I swear, I look like a scientist when I walk around my house, like, checking all my plants.
Can you stop swinging all those sharp items around my face?
As you can see, there's like a little meter on it, and it goes from what, 1 to 10 on dry to wetness of your plant. So basically you just stick the little tip in there, just like a thermometer, and it will tell you if your plant needs to be watered or not. And they say that you can like stick your finger, and if the soil stays or doesn't stay, or I don't even know. That's too much though for me to be the one to decide. So I love having this because it tells you very easily, boom, into my little holder. Don't you love that? I love organization, guys. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I know which plants need a lot of water and which plants don't need as much water? Well, you're gonna have to Google that or look on Pinterest. But once you do know, instead of trying to memorize all of the plants that you have, I came up with this idea, and maybe this is already a thing. I'm going to color coordinate my tags depending on the plant's needs. So if I have a plant that needs a lot of water all the time and it likes to stay really wet, then I'll use the blue tags. So that way when I go to water all the plants and I check them with the moisture meter, I'll know which ones need to be more on the wet side, and then there's other colors, which ones are more dry, which ones are in the middle, or which ones need more water and solution.
I like that. It's so organized.
So all of that just goes in my little storage container, and all of that's gonna go into our plant stand along with the watering jug. So everything's just all in one place, hidden away, but close to our plants. So
perfect.
If you have any tips, definitely leave them down below.
So here's how our plant stands look. I really like the way they came out. I'm sure you guys do too, because what's not to love? They're holding plants, they look great, and they're customized.
I know.
So, or you can fit a plant stand somewhere that you couldn't find online. So look at that.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a
Thumbs
thumbs
up.
up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see y'all in my next video.
Bye, guys.